Bole Baba Ki Jai, Dambe Mata Ki Jai. Here we are back in the temple. I'm going to do a little bit of chanting, followed by a discourse. So, Bole Baba Ki Jai.
Okay, so we're going to start with the Ganesh mantra. Om Gangnam Shakti Namaha. These words and in different orders. Om Gangadharaye Namaha. Om Gangadharaye So we sing, I think it's in here. Let's see. Yeah. So we sing number 4. Bhagwan ki Jai, Shiva Shankara Bhagwan ki Jai, Bole Baba ki Jai. Bum. Outro? You're going to do the outro?
I think we're doing the discourse now, or one more song?
Oh, no, I was just waiting for Monty to show up.
Okay.
She's so quiet and waiting.
Yeah.
If people want to come gather round up and hear, and your mother will tell a story about the Divine Mother and Navratri.
Discourse.
What was your name? The middle one there, the top of the middle one.
Good.
That helps a little. That's probably most of that is. Just in time for a story, Jyoti. Your son, you can all come closer. Hi, how are you? Good to have everybody. So today's story is about a king and a businessman and a rishi and Navratri. Give everybody another moment to settle. And can everybody hear me okay? Will, are you hearing me okay back there? Great. Good. Okay. So, as many of you know, this is a discourse, or Vedavyasa is telling this story, and there's a king, Janamajaya, who's asking him many questions about the Divine Mother. So Janamajaya said in a low, keen voice, Vedavyasa, strange delight fills me when I hear about the Devis, the Divine Mother's deeds. I feel I want to hear them over and over again, but first, tell me how I can worship the Divine Mother and hope to have her grace. Vedavyasa said, once the good king, Saratha of Kola, was betrayed by his ministers to a marauding horde of robbers. They divided his own army against him and routed the whole kingdom. Saratha fled into the jungle. In one day, the king lost everything. He plunged blindly through the jungle, tears streaming down his face, and arrived by fate at the ashram of the Rishi Sumedha. That hermitage was built on the banks of the turquoise blue river, and it was like a bit of heaven fallen into the world. Exotic fruits and flowering trees grew around the little log huts that served as shelters for the Munis and his disciples. Wild creatures came there. Deer and tiger lay side by side with no enmity between them. It was as if the lust of the hunt dare not go into the ashram. The air was full of songs. Under the trees sat the Muni. Many disciples were sitting around him, and their chanting of the Vedas was like a sacrament upon the air. The king stood for a moment at the edge of the glade, and immediately fear and grief left his mind as the deep peace of the ashram swept over his vanquished king's spirit. He tethered his horse to a tree and walked into the hermitage like a man walking into a beautiful dream. He felt he would like to spend the rest of his life here. Saratha saw the Rishi Sumedha sitting under a large tree that stood in the very heart of the glade. The Muni's body was attenuated by his long tapasya, and his slender form was perfectly quiescent, swathed in light. He was gently expounding the Vedas to his disciples, who hung on his every word. Just to see that holy man filled Saratha with a joy past his understanding. Tears filled the king's eyes, and without a word, he went and fell at the Muni's feet. Samada, the king, saw that the Muni saw that this visitor was no ordinary man. He offered the king a seat of darba grass to sit on. The rishi asked, "Who are you, friend? Why do you weep? Is there anything we can do for you?" The king said, "I am Sarata, and I'm king of Kola. But I was vanquished in battle, and I have lost my kingdom, my wealth, my army, my queen, my children. I have come seeking sanctuary. I will do whatever you say, for there is no one in the world that can help me but you. I fear my enemies are out hunting for me. Save me, Muni, or I'm lost." The rishi gazed into the king's eyes for a moment, and the king had the feeling that the sage was gazing into his destiny. Then the Muni said, "Stay here in my ashram, O king. By the power of my tapasya, your enemies will never find you here. But as long as you remain here, you may not kill any living creature. You will have to live on wild rice, fruit, and roots, as the rest of us do." The king agreed readily and began living in relative peace at the ashram. One day he went for a walk by himself in the jungle and sat under a shady mango tree. The king thought, "The robbers have my kingdom, and they are savage men. I am sure that they persecute my people and my family. I'm sure my poor elephants and horses don't get properly fed. My servants must be either in prison or begging on the streets. And as for my queen and the women of the harem, I dare not think of what they are subject to." As the king sat ruminating sadly under the tree, he saw a man approaching him who seemed to be crying and looked somber. The king beckoned to the stranger, who seemed to be in trouble, and asked him to sit at his side under the mango tree. When the man sat with a deep sigh, the king asked him, "Who are you, friend? Why are you so distressed?" The wise say that two men who exchange 7 words with each other become friends. Speak to me, tell me why you are so sad. The man thought that the Sarata, the king, was actually a Muni, and said to him, "I am a businessman, and my name is Samadhi. I am a devout man, but my wife and my sons are not like me. They have always been greedy for money. Why, friend, they took everything I owned and threw me out of my own house, saying I am a miser." His eyes filled again with tears. Then, controlling himself, the businessman said, "Tell me, who are you, stranger? From your face, you seem to be a noble and fortunate man." "I am King Sarata of Kola. My own ministers betrayed me, and I have been driven out of my kingdom." "Well met, businessman. We are both in distress, and we shall make good friends. Let us spend our time together here at the heart of this forest. Let us forget our troubles and find our serenity." But the businessman here in the forest in peace. But the businessman sighed, "Ah, my friend, I miss my wife and sons sorely, and I cannot help myself. Perhaps they even miss me and regret what they did. How shall I find peace when my mind is as restless as the wind?" The king confessed, "To tell you the truth, I too am in poor peace. I worry constantly about my kingdom and the havoc the robbers must have wreaked upon it." "Ah, what shall we do, friend?" The king said, "There is an enlightened rishi's ashram nearby. It is there that I live now. Come, friend Samadhi, let us go to the wise one and ask him for a cure to our grief." The businessman, Samadhi, agreed, and the two friends went to meet the Muni. They found the Holy One in meditation under the tree, where he was perfectly tranquil, his face bright and a smile full of kindness on his lips. They prostrated themselves before him, and then the king said, "My lord, this is Samadhi, the businessman. We met in the forest. He and I are both tormented by misfortune. O Muni, for just as I have lost my kingdom, he has lost his home." So the Muni said, I thought you were at peace in my ashram, king. I have surely found some peace, my lord, but my mind turns back repeatedly to the dark thoughts of my kingdom. I think of my people suffering and what indignations my queen and my children have to endure. I think of my servants and how they must be persecuted by the invaders. Ah, Rishi, I know this world is all Maya, a dream. Yet I have not found the detachment that lifts a man above joy and sorrow and makes his calm. All night I dream of my horses and elephants and how lean and starved they must be without their proper feed. What must they think except that I have abandoned them? I know that they are just beasts and of no kin of mine, but all night I see their sad eyes full of tears, and I hear them cry piteously in the dark. And just like my friend Samadhi, my mind will not be still. Great Master, nothing is hidden from you. Tell us both how we can come into happiness again. The Rishi Sumedha smiled. He said gently, the Mula Prakriti, the divine Mahamaya, the divine mother, is the one who binds and frees us all of us creatures in this universe. She is the cause of causes. If you worship her, she will bring you joy to her spirits. Samadhi said, how do we worship the Devi, O Muni? And the Muni taught them this mantra, Om Aim Hrim Klim Chamundaye Viche. And he said to keep that mantra. Then he went on and he said, then it's very important for you to perform the Navratri during the bright fortnight of Chaitra, and especially during the fall. The Bhakta must observe a fast for that fortnight and keep the Navratri vows. The most auspicious days are the 8th, the 9th, and the 4th day of the waxing moon. Regardless of who he is, the man who worships the Divine Mother during the Navratri has his every desire granted. It's also important that you honor young children during this time, and worshiping them as embodiment of the Divine Mother herself. The poor and the Brahmins are to be fed, and the Bhakta fasts for 9 days and eats his first meal on the 10th day. The devotee who keeps the Navratri fast and vows unswervingly has unswerving bhakti for the Devi, and he has his every wish fulfilled. The Muni smiled, and his face shone with kindness. He said to the king and the businessman, the ways out of your misery, my friends, is to worship the Devi Bhagavati, the Divine Mother. Keep the Navratri vows, and all your troubles will end. The suffering in a man's life is only the Devi, the Divine Mother, subtly calling you. She calls you both. Worship her, and she will save you from your distress and bless you someday with moksha. The king and the businessman were deeply comforted to hear the Muni. They felt hope spring up again in their desolate spirits. They prostrated themselves once more before the sage. When the Muni blessed them, the businessman and the king said, Holy One, we have surely been led to your feet by our past lives. Your wisdom makes us pure, Muni. Your peace calms us. We will worship the Divine Mother with great tapasya and great fervor. We beg you to be our guru. Should we go on and hear the ending? Mm-hmm. They bowed to him, and with their leave, they went to the banks of the river, and there they sat. They spent a month sitting in Padasana with their eyes shut, chanting the beach mantra and reciting the 3 legends of the Divine Mother. Bhakti took root in their hearts and grew swiftly. Saratha and Samadhi did nothing else but worship the goddess, but once a day they would come to the Muni and prostrate themselves at his feet for his blessing. The Bhaktas only ate fruit. A year went by, and they grew stronger in their tapasya. Then they ate only the leaves of certain trees. Another year passed, and both the king and the businessman dreamt of the Divine Mother on the same night. They saw her wearing scarlet robes and unearthly ornaments. During the 3rd year, they were true tapassvins and subsided only on water. But when 3 years passed and the Devi had still not appeared before them, they grew desperate. The 2 bhaktas said to each other, if we cannot have the vision of the Divine Mother after 3 years of meditation, we may as well not live at all. Both agreed, and they dug a triangular kund and lit a fire of yagya in it. They meant to make a final sacrifice to the Devi, Ambika, of their lives. When the fire blazed up, Saratha took out his sword and began to slice slivers of his own flesh from his body to feed the flame. Samadhi, the businessman, did the same. They found that they felt no pain and actually felt exhilarated by it. Suddenly, the fire in the pit of the sacrifice burned bright as suns, and the tapassvins were blinded by the white flames like massive columns of light. From those flames, the Divine Mother stood forth before her devotees. In her voice deep as the sky, she said, "You are my favorite bhaktas. Ask me for anything, and it shall be yours." The king's hair stood on his head with rapture, and he said, "Devi, let me vanquish my enemies and have my kingdom back." The crimson Devi said, smiling, "Your enemies are enfeebled. Return to your city and rule for 10,000 years. After this life, you will be born as Surya Deva's son and be known as Savarni Manu." She then turned to the businessman, Samadhi, who stood before her with folded hands. She said, "And what would you like of me, Samadhi?" The long tapasya had made Samadhi a wise man. He said softly, "Devi, bless me with wisdom, that the bonds of samsara, which bind my heart, are loosened. I want enlightenment, Mother of the worlds. I want to see the truth and to be free." The brilliant Devi raised her hand over him. Next moment, she vanished before their eyes, and a common fire burned once again in the pit of the sacrifice, and the wounds that they had inflicted upon themselves were all miraculously healed. Glowing with their experience, the 2 bhaktas came to the Muni, Sumedha, and told him what had happened. Just then, they heard a great noise at the edge of the ashram. The Muni smiled and said to Saratha, "Look, king, your ministers who betrayed you have come to beg your forgiveness." It was true, not only his ministers, but most of the people as well had come to beg the king to return to his kingdom once more. They had risen up themselves to overtake the robbers and had driven them out of the kingdom. They fell at his feet and begged his forgiveness, and there was no doubt that the Devi Bhagavati had wrought her miracle upon the king. The king went home with his kingdom, to his kingdom and his ministers and his people, and began to rule more wisely than ever. The Devi Ambika's grace was upon that king, and his was a just and prosperous reign. But Saratha was not the only one who the Devi blessed. As the king's ministers came to Samadhi's ashram, a strange thing happened to Samadhi, the businessman. He sat some distance from the congregation in the hermitage. His wives and sons did not come to ask pardon or call him back home. Instead, the Devi visited Samadhi again, subtly in his spirit. She loosed a tide of knowledge and joy into him. She set him free. When he knew the truth, all the business man's old attachments fell away from him like a snake's old skin. 1,000-petaled lotus unfurled in his head, and he was one with the Parashakti, the Divine Mother, with eternal bliss. The illumined Samadhi spent the rest of his mortal days wandering from one sacred place to the next, and then when death did come to him, the Divine Mother appeared and took him unto herself, and he had moksha. So said Vedavyasa to Janamajaya. Bole Baba Ki Jai, Dambe Mata Ki Jai, Vivekaneshwari Mata Ki Jai. So aren't we fortunate that we get to be here and celebrate the Divine Mother Festival all together? I always feel when we're sitting telling the stories together that we're like all the Munis in the forest listening to these beautiful Puranas. So thank you, and we'll be back tomorrow at 8:30 for our Devi Puja and Bole Baba Ki.